Okay, a lot went down over the weekend, so let's get this out of the way. If you're new to the main show and you don't know where it came from, it's probably because you found us by one of these.
Researchers at EPFL and Lausanne University Hospital have developed a groundbreaking approach to treating spinal cord injuries that could fundamentally change how
Okay, cool. Today, we're talking about Jay-Z and a civil lawsuit being amended to include him in the essay of a 13-year-old girl. Aiden Ross is kicking kick and trying to slide back into Twitch's DMs. And I missed the breaking of this story, but let's get a solid timeline on what's going on over in New York. All in today's... episode of... But before we start, why don't you smash that subscribe button? Make sure you never miss a news update. Also, I was gonna insert a clip of my Christmas adventures over the weekend, but somehow that doesn't feel appropriate anymore. So, look, ooh, ah, very pretty, shiny. Go watch the short, I'll link it right up here or wherever it shows up. Now, Alice.
A civil lawsuit has been amended to include allegations against Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z.
Let's break this down because there's a lot to unpack here. As if the lawsuit against Diddy wasn't big enough, now Jay-Z has been added as a defendant. Jane Doe, who says she was only 13 at the time, claims she was drugged at a VMA after party in 2000 before being assaulted by both men. Jay-Z, referred to as Celebrity A in the original filing, has come out calling the allegations outrageous and challenging the plaintiff to take the matter into criminal court and set a civil litigation, which criminal cases require a much higher burden of proof compared to civil lawsuits, so... In addition to denying the claims, Jay-Z went after the plaintiff's legal teams, calling their approach a blackmail attempt. This isn't the first time the plaintiff's attorney, Tony Busby, has faced these kind of allegations either. His past involves extortion claims from another unnamed celebrity, adding an extra layer to the whole case. The timing, of course, makes things rough though. The allegations date back to 2000, and being over 2 decades old, obviously questions of evidence, witnesses, and why this is coming to light now have all emerged. So although as of recording we don't have a whole lot to go off here, some big picture thoughts. First, the public perception of Jay-Z could take a massive hit regardless of what happens in court, and by extension, the Queen Bee could come under scrutiny. And second, if true, this is just going to be the start of a long, long list. I mean, if we ever get to see it anyways.
The investigation into the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has expanded beyond New York City, with the FBI and NYPD working together to locate the suspect.
Earlier this morning in Altoona, Pennsylvania, members of the Altoona Police Department arrested Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old male, on firearms charges.
So this broke in the off time for the show, so let's catch up to speed. Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, was ambushed and fatally shot outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel last Wednesday. The attack wasn't some spur-of-the-moment crime, it was very clearly planned. The suspect had been in New York for days using fake identification, paying in cash, and staying in hostels to avoid leaving a traceable footprint. Reportedly, he arrived in New York on a Greyhound bus from Atlanta on November 24th, nearly 10 days before the murder. For all that time, he avoided detection except for a brief moment when he lowered his mask in the hostel lobby. Now let's fast forward to the morning of December 4th. The suspect left his hostel well before dawn, rode a bicycle to the Hilton where the United Health Group was holding an annual investor conference, and waited. Surveillance footage showed him pacing near the hotel for over an hour, even taking a break to grab water and an energy bar from a Starbucks before returning to his spot. At 6:44 a.m., as Thompson walked across the street to the conference, the gunman struck before fleeing into Central Park on a bike. From there, the trail gets murky. Reportedly, the suspect ditched the bike, hopped into a taxi, and was last seen near the George Washington Bridge bus terminal, potentially leaving the city. Investigators are working off a fingerprint he left on the Starbucks purchase and DNA recovered from discarded items. They also found his backpack, and it was full of Monopoly money, which is kind of funny. Actually, the funniest part about this is that the media is still acting like they don't know what his exact motivation was, as of recording anyways. I mean, the police found ammunition with deny, defend, and depose written on it. Come on, don't play dumb. I mean, I know they're being paid to play dumb right now, but seriously? The phrases appropriately align with the criticism of the insurance industry, which actually all in itself has sparked speculation that the motive might involve a disgruntled client or employee. I've even seen some doctors speculating that it might have been one of them. And here's an interesting move. Apparently, there's an increased demand for private security among business executives following the assassination, which to me feels a little like you're telling me you're guilty without saying you're guilty. I mean, I could be wrong, but Anyway, the general consensus I'm seeing online, frankly, a lot of people don't seem to care that it happened. Some are outright celebrating it, framing it as a kind of karmic justice against a CEO tied to the healthcare industry. And this lack of empathy isn't just online chatter anymore, it seems to be shaping corporate decisions. Take Blue Anthem as a case study. The company almost immediately reversed their minds on a controversial policy change that would have pushed a chunk of anesthesia costs onto patients. In appearance, it would seem they backed off because they saw the public's not on their side and feared this could boil over into a broader backlash. Shocker. I mean, when people are willing to borderline celebrate violence against a corporate figure, well, Hey, did anyone have Fight Club becoming a reality on their bingo card for 2025? I was making jokes, but damn. The investigation into Thompson's murder has now moved into overdrive. Scuba divers are now combing Central Park's ponds, and the FBI has joined in, offering a $50,000 reward on top of the NYPD's already $10,000. Yet despite all of this, the suspect's identity remains unknown. And I suspect people aren't jumping at the bit to turn him in, at least not yet.
Streamer Aiden Ross has officially announced his departure from Kick, the platform he co-owns, after weeks of speculation about his inactivity.
That's right, Aiden Ross, the streamer and face of Kick, is stepping away from the platform he helped co-found. In case you missed the backstory, Aiden Ross was permanently banned from Twitch back in 2023 after a string of controversial moments. He jumped Kick to ship, becoming a poster boy and co-owner of the platform. For a while, it looked like the perfect setup. Ross had a new playground with far fewer restrictions than Twitch and a stake in its success. But then, in late 2024, he suddenly stopped streaming, leaving fans scratching their heads. After weeks of cryptic tweets and radio silence, Ross finally spilled the beans. He's leaving Kick indefinitely and stepping down from all leadership roles and is going to focus on getting reinstated on Twitch despite his permanent ban. And his reasoning? Well, we'll have to wait for the video he alluded to drop, but let's face it, this is Aiden Ross. There's bound to be drama. Speaking of drama, Ross's relationship with Kick seems to have soured. Last month, he even threatened to expose the CEO's company about something during the peak rumors of his exit. Didn't say anything, but we might see. Maybe the fish does rot from the head down there. Wouldn't really be surprising. Now, his dream of returning to Twitch isn't entirely out of reach. Twitch CEO Dan Clancy has said in the past that unbanned creators must align with the platform's guidelines moving forward. But that's a big if for someone as polarizing as Ross. But let's be real, Twitch isn't above bending the rules for a streamer who can bring in views and ad revenue, and Aiden Ross definitely has that pull. Now, his exit does leave a huge gap for Kick. The platform has built a lot of its identity around high-profile streamers like Ross, and losing him could hurt their credibility. On the flip side, if he manages to get back on Twitch, it's gonna be a PR headache for the platform. They'd essentially be letting a high-profile repeat offender back in, which could set a dangerous precedent for how they handle bans in the future, even though they seem to unban a lot of people, so. Are platforms like Kick just a stepping stone for creators looking for a bigger payout? Yep. Or are they a legitimate alternative to Twitch? Nope. Ross leaving Kick makes it seem like these rival platforms are only as good as the streamers they can attract, and once that honeymoon phase is over, it's back to Twitch if they'll have them. There's a lot of trash on these platforms. If you haven't been on them, keep your kids off them. You think Twitch has got a prawn problem. And on that piece of... If you managed to stick around to the end of the video, do me a last solid hitting that like button. Let YouTube know we're worth a damn. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Bye.